Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya Pinnatansa.
Namo Buddhaya Pinnatansa.
Namo Buddhaya. So we are here to have the new episode to talk about our great enlightened being, the Supreme Buddha. So welcome everyone to our program. And then before starting our program, we will go for refuge to the Triple Gem and observe the precepts. You can say with me, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Our respectful homage to our venerable, most venerable Pinwat Loku Swamin Mahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone again to our beautiful program to talk about our marvelous enlightened being, the Supreme Buddha, based on the uh, newly published book by our Pinot Lokuswami Mahanse, the Acharya Manuso, the book. Based on this book, we will learn about our supremely enlightened Buddha. If you remember, we talked many things about Mahabodhisattva when he was journeying through this tremendous samsara, collecting good merits and developing wholesome qualities with one idea, with one intention to become the Supreme Buddha in this great Mahabhadra Kalpa, the great eon called Bhadra, the beautiful Kalpa. And then we talk many stories about Mahabodhisattva, the Jataka stories when he was practicing 10 perfections. He collected lots of good merit, helping other people and developing his mindfulness. He was born in different worlds, like in the human world, in the Devas world, heavenly worlds, and in the Brahma worlds, and as the animal world, and then fulfilling his 10 perfections, Dana Paramita, 10 perfections, Dasa Paramita, Dana Paramita, Sila Paramita. We learned many things about that. He was born, the Mahabodhisattva was born. I think you have the idea about Mahabodhisattva. Mahabodhisattva is the Buddha to be the person who trained himself uh, for the Buddhahood in the previous lives. He practiced. He was called Mahabodhisattva. And finally, he was born in the human world. And he was a king in the kingdom of India. And then he was, if you remember, the beautiful story, heart-touching story about Vesantara. Becoming the king Vesantara, he practiced the generosity and he gave everything for the benefit of others, for the happiness of others. He had a kingdom and then he donated everything, the royal elephant, the kingdom, and all the wealth he had, all the wealth his wife uh, had, and then he decided to go to the Himalayas to become an ascetic to practice the mindfulness and meditations. And then while he was going to the forest, Himalayas, his wife and two children, if you remember, the queen mm, Madri or Mandri Devi, and then the two kids, two little kids. The boy was Jalia, and then the girl was Krishnajina, two little kids. And then they also went with the king Vesantara. When he was going to the forest Himalayas, they came along with him, and then finally he happened to donate. He happened to give these two kids to a person who was wishing for them to have in their house as servants, and then that was how our Mahabodhisattva became generous, giving everything. That was not something simple. That was not uh, something someone can easily do, because he had a huge attachment to this family and he loved a lot Mahabodhisattva Vesantara. But he had that strongest idea in his mind. I should become the Buddha. I should be generous, and these people will be okay for that. Then he donated them. How amazingly, yeah, amazingly he developed his mindfulness of letting go, but not without compassion, not without, it's not it's not that he was not loving and caring for his family. He loved a lot. In that story, we read, and then when he donated the two kids to the Brahmin, he cried a lot, but instead of tears coming out of his eyes, he had blood coming out from his eyes. That was very painful, very hard to practice. So that's how our Supreme Buddha, as Mahabodhisattva, developed his mindfulness, developed his 10 perfections with the one idea, the perfect idea to become the Buddha. And finally, that was his final life. He was born in the human world as Mahabodhisattva to fulfill the 10 perfections. And then after that life, he was born in the mm, in the Tusita heaven. If you remember the Tusita heaven is the fourth heavenly world. If you remember the first heavenly world, it was called Chatu Maharaja. Chatu Maharaja. That heavenly world is called Chatu Maharaja because Chatu or Chatu means four. Maharaja means great kings. Then you get the idea. The four great kings live in this heavenly world. Four great kings. Chatu Maharaja, four great kings. That's why this heavenly world is called Chatu Maharaja. That's the first heavenly world. And then the second heavenly world is above the Chatu Maharajaka heavenly world. The second heavenly world is called Tavatimsa. Tavatimsa, or we say in Sinhala, Tavatisa. And then in Tavatisa, God Sakka is the ruler. Absolutely, the God Sakka is the ruler for these both heavenly worlds, Chatu Maharaja and Tavatimsa. Hmm? Remember Tavatimsa. Tavatimsa. That was the second heavenly world. And then the third heavenly world is called Yama. Yama. And then the ruler of this heavenly world is Suyama. Suyama. Yama heavenly world, the ruler, the king is Suyama. That is the third heavenly world. And then the fourth heavenly world is Tusita. Once again, Tusita. You might be confused about these two words, Tavatimsa or Tavatisa and Tusita. Those are two heavenly worlds. Tavatimsa is the second one. Tusita is the fourth heavenly world. And then our Mahabodhisattva, to become the Buddha, to come to this heavenly world, to become the Buddha, was living in this heavenly world called Tusita. Tusita. Tusita is the fourth heavenly world. Remember, Tusita is the fourth heavenly world. And then the ruler of this heavenly world is called Santusita. I'll just share some information uh, with you to make this information to get easily to get an idea about this. Okay, and then let me have some time for this. This beautiful picture you see, and then this is our Mahabodhisattva. Mahabodhisattva. The Mahabodhisattva in Tusita heaven as the king Deva Santusita. He was the ruler of this Tusita heavenly world, ruler of this Tusita heavenly world. Okay, and then it was amazingly beautiful, and then the lifespan Tusita heavenly world. Okay. To see the heavenly world, we have a little bit of information about this heavenly world. And then if I give this opportunity to someone else to read this information, maybe Subodha.
Hey, Masami answer.
Mm.
The Tusita heaven. In the Tusita heaven, a day is equal to 400 years in the human world. Such 30 days is a month. Such 12 months is a year. The lifespan of the Tusita Devas is such 4,000 heavenly years. In comparison to the happiness of a Deva in the Tusita heaven, happiness of a universal, the monarch in the human realm is very poor.
Okay. You might get an idea about Tusita heaven. It's very luxurious and the lifespan is very, very long. It's not like the human world. Okay, remember in the Tusita heaven, a day is equal to 400 years in the human world. When we spend 400 years here, 400 years, that was one day in this heavenly world, Tusita. Remember, 400 years is a day there. And then such 30 days is a month. Then you might count the number of days in a month according to the human time period. Okay, it's a huge time period. And then such 12 months is a year, and then they amazingly they have 4,000 heavenly years to live. 4,000 years multiplied by 30 and multiplied by how many? 400. Then you get the number of years they live according to the human years. Okay, it's a huge lifespan they spend, and then Mahabodhisattva was living there. And then the happiness and the comfort they
What is
enjoy in the Tusita heaven is
that?
amazingly wonderful. You see, the monarch king, the universal king, has something very comfortable, very enjoyable, very precious in the human world. But when it comes to the comparison about the happiness in the Tusita heaven, the monarchy is very poor according to the knowledge of our supremely enlightened Buddha. And then I want you to remember some information about this amazing fact. So, how long is the lifespan in the Tusita heaven? If I want you to remember, if you have a notebook, you can note it down. Okay, so remember, 400 days we spend here in the human world is 1 day in the Tusita heaven. 1 day. And then they live 4,000 years in the human world as they have the lifespan there. And then the luxurious thing, the comfort and the happiness they have is amazingly wonderful and incredible. Okay, and our Bodhisattva, Mahabodhisattva, as Santasita, was living there. He is not in a hurry to come to this human world to become the Buddha. He was waiting. He was waiting for some reasons. He was waiting in the heavenly world. Remember? And then after some time spending his time in the Tusita heaven, that was something happened very, very beautiful. And then this is what they enjoyed, what we see. And okay, and then all the devas in the Tusita heaven, and all the devas, devas are the heavenly beings in other heavenly worlds as well. Maybe from the 10,000 fold world system, all the devas gathered around our Mahabodhisattva Santasita, the king. And then they invited our Mahabodhisattva to come to this human world. What? For what? To become the Buddha. This was the beautiful invitation. This was the beautiful invitation they gave to our Mahabodhisattva. If I read that part, it's like this. Kalo yante Mahavira. Mahavira. Kalo yante. You know this Kala. Kalo is means the time. Okay. Mahavira is the great hero. This the great hero. It's your time. This is your time. Kalo yante Mahavira. Uppajjamatu kuchyang. To be born in the human world in a womb of a human mother. It is time. What is this then? You understand, all the heavenly beings, all the devas gathered around, and it was maybe a huge, mm, huge gathering, and then it was something very, very beautifully happened. Okay, and then they invited Kalo Yante Mahavira Uppajja Matukuchyan. Sadevakang Tarayanto. Sadevakang means so the heavenly beings, including heavenly beings, the world beings. Tarayanto means to free, to free them from the dangers in the great ocean of samsara. Mm, Bujjasu Amatang Padang. Amata Pada means the Nibbana, the Dhamma of the deathless state, and share it. This is the rough idea we get about this beautiful Gatha. The great hero, it is your time to be born in the human world. Realizing the deathless state of Nibbana, ferry this world across the ocean of samsara. Okay? Free this world from the danger in the samsara. That was the invitation. Invitation by the invitation by the devas or the heavenly beings. The Mahabodhisattva, remember the name of Mahabodhisattva right now? He is son Tusita, the king of the Tusita heavenly world, and he was enjoying the pleasures in the heavenly world, and he accepted the invitation by the devas from 10,000 fold world system. But he is not still hurried to come to this human world, and he had something to be concerned about. He should know the correct time, correct place, and how to do this. So he was searching for this, and then all of a sudden he realized five things, five facts to be concerned about, to be born in the human world. Those are called uh, Pas Mahabellum, or in English, I can share you it again. It's like this: five great considerations, and then this is this information is about our Mahabodhisattva was considered about to be born in the human world. And then I give this chance to Sandesh to read about the information we have on the screen.
And my son wants it. The five great considerations. Time, human lifespan, 100 to 120 years. Country, Jambudvipa,
Jambudvipa.
Jambudvipa, region, the Madhya Desha,
Yes.
Caste,
Caste.
King's family,
King's family.
Mother, Queen Mahamaya.
Very good. Very good. Some words you see, some new words we have here. That's very good. You read it very well. Time. In Sinhala we say kala. Huh? Time. Time. The time is very important here. Time. So, as we learned about the lifespan of the human world, sometimes the lifespan grows up to 80,000 years, and more than that, maybe to the infinity. The lifespan grows in the human world. They live uncountable number of years, and then during these periods, Buddhas are not appeared in the human world. And then again, it started to climb down, and it came down to 10 years. Maybe from the infinity, 10 years, it reduces up to 10 years. This time duration is the time the Buddhas have appeared in the human world. But before, maybe over 80,000 years, in the declining time period, Buddhas do not appear in the human world. Why? So the Supreme Buddha explained that they do not understand what impermanence is, because they do not feel that, because they live a long lifespan in the human world. Then the Dhamma is not for them to understand. Makes sense? And then the Buddhas do not appear in the human world, when the people live a long lifespan. And then less than 80,000 years, Buddhas appear in the human world. And then when the lifespan becomes 100 years, and then less than that also, Buddhas do not appear in the human world, because they do not understand, they are not wise enough to understand what the Dhamma is, because they enjoy this life a lot, not focusing on the Dhamma. And then Buddhas do not appear in the lifespan as well. And then our Mahabodhisattva, being in the Tusita heavenly worlds, was thinking about what the suitable time is. Then he recognized, when the lifespan of the human world become 100, between 100 and 120, it could be the time for the happiness of everybody if I will be born in the human world. Makes sense? We were very lucky, very lucky and fortunate as we had our Supreme Buddha in our human world, even though this world is very poor in the wisdom and in other stuff. Okay, and then that was about our time period. The Buddha was appeared in the human world, and then when it comes to the okay, okay, we talk about the time, and then I will give this chance to if you raise your hand. Okay, Hiru.
1. The time. The suitable time was when the human lifespan became between 100 and 120 years. At this time, many meritorious beings who had gathered around the Mahabodhisattva when he was fulfilling the perfections were living in the human world, and others were about to take birth here. The Deva king Santusita realized that it was the suitable time to be reborn in the human world.
You rejoice in the good merit you collected. Remember, most of the people and devas had been born in the human world to meet the Supreme Buddha during this time period. That was the perfect time. And then, if you remember the second consideration about our, I want you to remember these five considerations by the Mahabodhisattva being in the Tusita heavenly world as Santusita king. What was the first one? Time. Okay, and then we are going to talk about the second consideration about our Mahabodhisattva, that was uh, Kala, yeah, and then deeper or deeper is the country, and which country should I be born to become the Buddha? In Sri Lanka, in a country in the Western world, or in the Middle East? Where should I be born? And then when it comes to this point, Mahabodhisattva recognized the perfect country that he should be born to become the Buddha. This chance is to Sean.
Is my Swami answer. The Jambudvipa is the current India. The great Himalayas extends across the top of the country, and the south of the country gradually decreases in the width. Jambudvipa is 10,000 yojanas long. One yojana is about 10 kilometers. The Bodhisattva, the Devas King Santisita identified the great continent Jambudvipa as the birthplace of Buddhas.
Ah, thank you very much. Beautiful reading. So the country or the deepa is Jambudipa. Jambudipa is the country we call for India. In ancient time also they call as Jambudipa because they had a huge jambu tree, the rose apple tree. And then this is the perfect place the Buddhas are born, and all the Buddhas in the past also were appeared in Jambudvipa, not anywhere else. India is the greatest country for the for the marvelous human beings, for the great human beings, for the great heroes, for Mahabodhisattvas, for Buddhas, and as well the Pacheka Buddhas are born in India, not anywhere else. That's an amazing country. And now Mahabodhisattva realized the India. Remember the first one, time. The second one, country. And then we talk about the third consideration by our so you see a map of India, right? Map of India is you see the Himalayas in the middle of the country, and it's like the down part is skinny, very very thin, and then you see our country also, Sri Lanka, in the Indian Ocean. It's a marvelous place for the marvelous beings. And then the third one is for if you raise your hands, Sanahas and the family. If you
My Swami Mahansa. The Madhya Desha, the middle country, is 300 yojanas in length and 250 yojanas in width. The country's borders extend for 900 yojanas. All bodhisattvas are born in the middle country. Therefore, Deva King Santasita identified with his divine eye the city of Kapilavatthu, situated next to the kingdom of Kosala in the Himalayan foothills, as the region suitable for his birth.
Okay, so you already know about the birthplace of a supreme Buddha in Lumbini, situated in Kapilavatthu. It's currently in Nepal, but in the previous time, in the ancient times, the every part of this is called Jambudipa, and then the region is very important. The region is the same place for all the Buddhas in the history, also in the past as well. Okay, in the Kosala, the city Kosala, you see, and then that was the perfect place for his enlightenment as well. Okay, that was about our third point. We learned about the consideration by our great hero, the Mahabodhisattva. Time, Kala, the country, Deepa, and Desha is the third one, the region, and then the fourth one is the caste. And then it's a little bit informative. I give this to Dinudaham.
4. The caste. In the Indian culture, the population is divided into 4 castes. The people from kings' families are Kshatriyas. The ancient religious people are Brahmins. Vaishyas are the people engaged in farming and trade. And the Shudras are the laborers. The Mahabodhisattva was born in the Kapilavatthu's family. The Brahmin said they were born from Mahabrahma's mouth. The Kshatriyas were born from his arms, and the Vaishyas were born from thighs, and the Shudras were born from his feet.
That's a little funny, maybe. In India, we have this caste system, the classes. The people are divided into classes. And as well in Sri Lanka also we have some kind of caste system, but not strongly like in India. Maybe in the countries in the Western world or maybe somewhere else. I don't know about the caste systems available in the world, rather than we talk about the caste system in Asian countries. Anyways, in India, they have a forecast. The first one is Shastriyas, which means the king's family. Shastriyas. Okay, Shastriyas are the king's family. So the kings, how did it start? Okay, so in the ancient time, at the very beginning of this Mahabhadra Kalpa, you know, the Mahabhadra Kalpa is the time period we live in. In Mahabhadra Kalpa, there are supposed to be born 5 supreme Buddhas. Already 4 Buddhas were born, and at the very beginning of this eon, the people lived a longer lifespan, and they were very virtuous and they did not do anything wrong. But when the time passed by, some people start stealing. Some people do did some, make some mistakes for themselves. Okay, and then the society wanted a ruler, and before that they did not have a ruler. And after having some mistakes, after having some faults, some doing some wrong things, they wanted to have a ruler for themselves. And then they went to a beautiful person, they went to a very strong, a very powerful person, and invited him to become the ruler of the country. Okay, and then this is called the great appointment by the people, and they invited the person to become the ruler of the country. The great invitation, the great appointment, which is called in my language Mahasammata, or in Pali also it is called Mahasammata. Mahasammata, the great appointment, which is the king. Then this person became the king for the entire country. And as well, amazingly, if we know about this information, Mahasammata king was again our Mahabodhisattva for the entire country, India. And then Mahasammata was the first king in this Mahabharata Kalpa. He lived a longer lifetime, maybe like 80,000 years. And then after that, the generation of the kings became, and finally Suddhodana, the father of our Mahabodhisattva, as Prince Siddhartha, was born here also as well. We have the lineage of the kingdom. And then this is how the Kshatriyas family is born, or the kings are born. And then the kings are the powerful people in the country. And then this is the first caste, actually, the class in the society. And then the king's family, it's like that. Okay. Okay, Shastriyas, king family. And then the second one is Brahmins. Brahmins are the religious people, and then they wanted to have some kind of rituals and everything, and they sometimes meditated. And then that class is called Brahmins. And some people wanted to meditate a lot in the forest, and then they went to the Himalayas to uh, practice meditation and stuff like that. But some people were not successful in the Himalayas, and then they came back, and then they lived a normal life in the society. And then they failed to fulfill their idea in the Himalayas, but anyways, they are called Brahmins. And then amazingly, maybe a little funny,
Hello.
okay, Brahmins said that Brahmins were born from the mouth of the Mahabrahma. We never believe that. The Buddha never talk about that. Yeah? And then we don't believe that the people are not a creation of someone else, but they believe that the Brahmins were born from Mahabrahma. Mahabrahma is the great Brahma, Mahabrahma's mouth. And then the kings were born from the Mahabrahma's arms, they start saying. And then the next caste is Vaishyas. Vaishyas are the trade people, or the farming and trading they did, okay? Farming and trading. And the Brahmins said that the Vaishyas, or the people, the traders and farmers, were born from the thighs. And then the fourth caste is Shudras. Shudras are the laborers. Maybe they are the people who serve for the entire world. They work hard as laborers, okay? And that caste is called Shudras. And then the Brahmins say that they were born from the feet of Mahabrahma. That was the caste system, and the Brahmins wanted to become the powerful people in the country, but Buddha did not accept that, okay? And then that was about the caste. And then our Mahabodhisattva wanted to be born in the Shastri's family, which means in the king's family, actually. And absolutely, he was born. And then we talked about time, Kala, Deepa is the country, Desha is the region, and then Kula is the family or the caste, and then the fifth one is Mava or Mata or mother. And then we talk about the mother. He was considered to be born in the human world. Who is the suitable mother or something? Then this chance goes to Tenu Arachi, if you're comfortable.
Being in the Tusita heaven, the Mahabodhisattva clearly recognized his mother as Queen Mahamaya. For many thousands, many hundreds of thousands, many billions of lives, she journeyed in samsara, caring for her remarkable son, intended to become a Buddha. Now she is in the human world. King Suddhodana married to the two princesses Mahamaya and Prajapati Gautami. Queen Mahamaya gave birth to Prince Siddhartha. Prajapati Gautami gave birth to Prince Nanda and Princess Nanda.
Very beautiful reading. I rejoice the good man, the good marriage you collected. And that was the mother. Mother was, our Siddhartha, Prince Siddhartha's mother is Queen Mahamaya. Queen Mahamaya was the greatest woman in the human world to give birth to this Prince Siddhartha. And then it was not spontaneously happened. She became his mother for a long period of time in the samsara, becoming the mother, giving birth to this beautiful person to come to this human world. And then she collected thousands of times, millions of times, collecting good medicine, developing wholesome activities. She became the beautiful mother. And then when our Mahabodhisattva as Santasita in the Tusita heavenly world, she was born in the human world, Mahamaya, and married to the king Suddhodana. As her sister called Prajapati Gautami was also married to the same king Suddhodana. And then Akka and Nangi, maybe two sisters, were married to the same king. And then she was waiting the Prince Siddhartha until he comes to his womb. And she was amazingly um, waited for the princess. Okay. And then this incident was remarkable in our history, remarkable in the life of our Supreme Buddha. And then uh, I want you to remember these 5 considerations by our Mahabodhisattva: Kala, Deepa, Desha, Kula, and Mava. Time, country, region, caste, and mother. He was he was searching for these 5 things to come to this human world, because it's not something very simple. Okay, it's very serious. And then he was thinking about these 5 things to come to this human world. And then now he recognized this is the time, this is the country, this is the region, and this is the caste I should go, and this is the suitable mother, virtuous, and very lucky and fortunate. And then he decided to come to this human world. And then coming to this human world to become the Prince Siddhartha was again something very inspiring. It's inspiring story. Maybe you know about this. Queen Mahamaya's beautiful dream. She was the most beautiful lady, most beautiful woman in the world, most virtuous, most maybe fortunate lady, okay, in the human world, the woman. And then she uh, she observed 8 precepts, Uposatha precepts. Normally they observed, even though they did not have Buddhism in the time period the Prince Siddhartha was born in India. They have these precepts, Uposatha precepts. She observed these Uposatha precepts, which means the 8 precepts, and was living in the 7th story building, in the 7th floor. She was sleeping, and then at the moment she dreamed a beautiful dream like this, and this chance is go to okay, Anuj Bandar.
Thank you, Bante. King Bante, read. At midnight, She had a beautiful dream. The four great kings, Dataras, Virupaksha, and Vaishravana, came up to her from the four directions and lifted her up into the air along with the bed. And then they took her to the Himalayas and placed her under a huge sal tree in full bloom on the bank of the lake Anotatta. Bomping Bante.
Thank you for the reading. Thank you for the beautiful reading. I rejoice in the good night. Okay, the midnight she saw something very beautiful. We talked about four great kings, uh, Dhartarashtra, Virude, Virupaksha, and Vaishravana. Those four great kings came and she was taken to the Himalayas. And then the story goes like that. And then I need someone else to read this part. Maybe, uh, maybe Chennaya.
Yes,
Mhm.
the deities of the four great kings came forth and talking the queen to the lake Antana, bathed her and clothed her in heavenly clothes, applying divine perfumes and decorated her with divine garlands.
Okay, guns. Okay, that was the you understand, and the deities of four great kings came and they treated the queen very well. Okay, and then she enjoyed that in the dream. And then this goes to Tinuli.
Afterward, they laid her down on a bed scattered with sweet heavenly flowers, where she slept comfortably. At the moment, Queen Mahamaya saw her stunning silver white baby, Tusker elephant, coming up carrying a white lotus in his trunk. The baby Tusker walked on the golden mountain and then came down from it, and then climbed up the silver mountain.
Okay, so see the beautiful. Thank you. The reading is beautiful. And then you see in the picture, the Queen Mahamaya is sleeping, and then the baby Tusker. The baby Tusker is amazingly beautiful. Yeah, this is a dream. Actually, these are the devas or the heavenly beings. Okay, they gave this dream to the Queen Mahamaya as the sign of that Prince Siddhartha is coming to the birth. And then the elephant, the baby elephant has a white lotus flower. I want you to remember the information. White lotus flower in his trunk holding. And then he is white, silver, and beautiful. It's a baby elephant, okay? Firstly, he climbed up the Golden Mountain and then climbed down. And then he climbed up the Silver Mountain and then climbed down. And then mm, this is the last part of the story. Asiri, if you are comfortable.
Coming from the northern direction, he approached the Queen Mahamaya and raising its trunk, he trumpeted beautifully. Then the baby Tusker walked around the queen's bed 3 times and appeared to enter her womb from the right side.
Okay, thank you. Reading is beautiful. And then, if you remember, the Tusker elephant walk around 3 times on the around the bed of this Mahamaya, Queen Mahamaya, and came near her to enter the womb from the uh, from the from the right side. And then this was the dream she had in the night. Okay, so I want you to remember these beautiful facts from the stories. So Mahabodhisattva as Santusita was living in the Tusita heavenly world, and then he was invited to come to this heavenly world, Kaloyante Mahavira as well. And then he considered about 5 things: Kale, Deepa, Deshe, Kule, Mama, time, country, region, and then the caste and the mother. And then when he understood that this is the perfect time, this is the perfect place, this is the perfect mother, he decided to come to this human world to become the Buddha as Prince Siddhartha. And then on the day he was coming to the human world, Queen Mahamaya had a beautiful dream, and I want you to remember this beautiful dream as well. Dream was, she was sleeping, and then she was taken by the 4 great kings to the Himalayas in the lake Anavatatta, in the river bank, on the river bank of Anavatatta. She bathed, and she was lying down on a beautiful heavenly bed, and then all the deities treated him. And then at the moment, a white silver baby tusker elephant came with a white lotus flower on his tusker, and then he circled 3 times around the bed of the Queen Mahamayas and came near to enter the womb from her right side into the as the dream. And then this was the beautiful dream that Queen Mahamaya had. If you have some questions, maybe you have some time to ask. It's a beautiful question. Bante, please say me the reason why all the Buddhas born in India. Because the India is the only place suitable for the Buddhas. Maybe it is mm, it is called dharmata, or maybe the natural laws in the world. That's a natural law in the world, okay? And that was the greatest place in the entire universe, and in the entire planet Earth as well. And no one else, nowhere else the Buddhas are born, and the great people are not born in the other worlds as well. Maybe it is the naturally created place for the spiritual people. Even today, the people are very spiritual in comparison to other people in the other parts of the world. India is a great place. It's a natural law. Okay, thank you very much for your attention and the many merits for coming to our the marvelous, to talk about our marvelous being, our Supreme Buddha. And again, if I share the message of our Loku Swamin Wahanse that you want to have in your heart is, I am the disciple, the Supreme Buddha is my teacher. Sattha me bhante bhagava savako hamasmi. Sattha me bhante bhagava savako hamasmi. The Supreme Buddha is my teacher, so I am the disciple. And Loku Swamin Wahanse wants you to develop your Shraddha, and then the faith or the confidence in your heart for the Supreme Buddha, and then the respect. And if you respect the marvelous being Supreme Buddha, you will be very fortunate to follow his Dhamma, and you will be very fortunate to understand his Dhamma, and you will be very fortunate to make your life comfortable here and hereafter as well. So everything you hear, everything you practice, listening to Dhamma in respect actually is a good merit, and then this good merit will bring you more happiness in your life here and hereafter as well. And then all the merits you gathered today also, be very supportive to everyone to fulfill your wholesome qualities, and then to achieve your goals in this life, and actually to practice the good Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha, and collect good merits and practice wholesome qualities in this life. And as well, may you be very fortunate to be born in a very safe place next time as well, and to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May this good merit be dedicated to all the heavenly beings. May they give their support and protection to these good people to practice this Dhamma. May they also be very fortunate to follow the Supreme Buddha's teachings and understand it very well. Sadhu, sadhu, Special dedication to with our Pinwat Loku Swamin Wahanse, our most venerable Pinwat Loku Swamin Wahanse. May our most venerable Pinwat Loku Swamin Wahanse be well, be happy, and live long, and be very fortunate to understand the Four Noble Truths very soon in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation by the power of these all good merits. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May this good merit be dedicated to all the Bantes and nuns in the world. May they be well and happy and live long and be fortunate to understand the Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all of you who came to this beautiful program, your family, your parents, your teachers, and everybody living in the entire world, may all of you be well and happy and live long. May all of you be very fortunate to practice the Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha and to collect good merits and practice wholesome qualities. May all of you be very fortunate to be born in a very safe place next time as well, and to practice the good Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha and to understand the noble truths very soon in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You have all the blessings of this noble triple gem Buddha Dhamma and Sangha, and you will have a very comfortable week until we meet next Saturday at the same time. Namo Buddhaya.